We have seen that the controls on a form have properties, and the form itself has properties. There are three other properties regarding the form itself that I would like to address. The first is referred to as the startup position. If I scroll to the startup position in the properties window, you'll notice from the drop-down box that there are four possibilities. The default is Windows default. When I run this project, you'll notice that the form sometimes gets skewed to the left, and every time you run this project, it could potentially go to a different position. You can control this by changing the startup position to be center screen. Now when I run this project, the form itself will go directly to the center of the screen. Another property, the last one in the list in the alphabetical view, is the window state property. By default, it is set at normal. You can choose either minimized or maximized as the initial window state. This means that when the program is run, it will automatically become, in this case, I'll choose maximized. Now when I run this project, you'll notice that the form takes up the entire screen. In other words, it is maximized. As the user, I could choose the restore button in the upper right hand corner, which will restore it to its original size as it was in the design window, and then revert back to maximized. You'll notice in the maximized view that the controls that have been placed on the form are in the upper left corner of the form, because when I originally designed this, I designed it for a smaller window. Exiting the program brings me back to the design view. The third property, which sometimes is confusing, is the visible property. You'll notice that the visible property can be set to either true or false. And normally you will want it to be true, which means that the form itself is visible. If, for example, you change this to false and then run the project, you'll notice that the project or the form is not there. The project window is here, which I can close, but nothing as far as the form is visible. If I stop the run of the program, I will return to the design window. So if you inadvertently change the visible property to false and then run it, don't panic. Simply come back to the visible property and change it to true. And then, as you can see, it will still run without a problem. This visible property becomes important when we have multiple forms. But until we get to that point, always make sure that the visible property for the form is set to true.